My name is Matty Tottenham. I'm the host of the W Number podcast based out of Massachusetts. I'm on Chatting with Stacks, bro.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Matty from the W Number podcast.
What's going on, Bill? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, I see your podcast, man. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, things are moving along. I just started getting a lot of traction, so it's definitely picking up, and I'm liking what I'm seeing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You're getting some good guests, and I like your content. I tune in all the time.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I make content that I know I would like myself, so you know what I mean?
Yeah. So where'd you get to come up with the name, the W Number? What's that all about?
A W number is a number. It's basically like the number they give every prisoner to label you as a statistic, to trace you, to keep track of you. It's a number like they used to give basically the Jews when they would go to the concentration camps. They label you this number. I believe it's probably like around where it started, is giving people con numbers or prison numbers. And so basically what my podcast represents, and it's basically like a flag for anybody getting out of Massachusetts state prison systems. They come out and go on YouTube. If they see the W number, they're gonna know what it's about. You know what I mean? So it's a flag for people coming out. They can see it. They can come and they hear the stories of people that actually made it and are doing great and changing their lives, and seeing me myself, guys who a lot of people know. A lot of people know me. Anybody who's been in the state system up in Massachusetts knows me. You know, a lot of people even say like I'm the voice of the max right now. Like I've done so much time up there. All the COs up there knew me. All the cons knew me. The administration staff knew me. So it's like, you know, my reputation preceded itself. But, you know, now people see me out here with the W number, and I'm taking the name of what they gave us to label us as a statistic and making it something that we can represent and be proud of overcoming. You know what I mean? And basically taking away that the negative attachment that people give that number, you know?
Yeah, because when you go, you're just a number. You ain't nothing but a number. You're just housed like animals, basically, right?
Absolutely. They take away your humanity, or
they
try.
Definitely do. So where did your life start? Where were you born and raised, and what was your early life like?
So I was born in Derby, Connecticut. I was not raised out there, though. I moved to the Cape when I was very young. I had an uncle who had some real estate that was down there. My parents were, you know, not doing too great, so he allowed them to rent out one of those houses that he had on the Cape, and we ended up on the Cape. And I grew up down there in like Eastham, Dennis, like, you know. Grew up on the Cape since till I was about like, you know, 13, when I got wrapped up into the juvenile justice system. I was committed to the Department of Youth Services when I was 11.
What was your first experience 13. Though with them? With them, what was your first experience?
So with the police, you mean?
Yeah, like how did you get wrapped up in the system?
So the first experience I had with the police is I brought a bowl, like a weed bowl, on the bus in might have been 11, you know what I mean? And I showed it to a couple people on the bus. They seen the bowl, and some girl that seen it went into my locker, took the bowl and gave it to the principal. And then I got a chins from that. And from there forward, it was like I couldn't pass a drug test. I was smoking tons of weed, and I didn't even give a shit. You know what I mean? I didn't really care about passing the drug test. I just, you know, I was a kid and I didn't really think much about the future. But it wasn't long I was stealing cars and, you know, robbing gas stations and just doing a lot of nonsense. I ended up getting committed when I was 13 years old to the Department of Youth Services. So you get committed till the age of 18. Doesn't mean you're going to be in until you're 18, but you're going to be on parole, juvenile parole, where they could snatch you up and put you back for less than a case. You don't have to have any kind of case or anything like that. They could just grab you and put you back if they feel like, you know, anything, any reason at all.
What's it like walking in there first time?
Oh, man. I was so young. I went to Howland Detention Center, and I went with a childhood friend of mine and my twin brother. We were co-defendants, and, you know, started like that, ended like that, right? We were co-defendants, but right. I went with this kid Jay, and I grew up with him like that. He was always a maniac, and he was just telling me on the paddy wagon on the way there, that basically if I needed a hand, if I needed anybody to have my back, he had my back. So he had my back right from the rip. You know what I mean? Before I even walked through the door, I had an ally. But when I got in there, it was just like, Lord of the Flies. Like it really wasn't. It wasn't dangerous as far as the kids, but if you got into a fight with a kid, the staff will brutalize you. You were afraid of the staff, not the kids. Like it didn't matter. You could get into a fight with any of these kids. It's not going to do much damage. We're kids, but those staff members jump in, they'll choke you out. I had all the blood vessels in my neck popped, all the blood vessels in my eyeballs popped, 2 black eyes. Like, and this is, as my mother's coming to see me and visit me in there, and they see this is going on, and it's not like, they're hiding it. This was bad. It was different. They changed the laws now where a lot of the DYSs, they don't allow any physical contact unless it's absolutely necessary. But they had the laws back then where they can restrain you and for your own safety. So it was like they just abused that really bad. Yeah.
When I was a kid, they killed a kid in there and everything, man.
I would not doubt it. It was like there was like a power hungry thing. Like they knew they could. They were kids, you know what I mean? And a lot of those guys that take this line of work, they were bullied, you know what I mean? They grew up being bullied or mistreated, and now they see their bullies in us, you know what I mean? And they come in there and just take out their hatred and anger on these kids that did nothing wrong to them.
They hate their job. Like, why are you even there if you hate your job?
Right? Yo, word, yeah.
So how long do you stay there for?
I did in DYS total, I did like 3 years and 8 months. But I would get out for like a week, go back, get out for 2 days, go back. You know what I mean? I never spent more than like a month. And the time that I did, the longest time I spent out, probably like 3 weeks, a month, was on the run. So I would have AWOL officers chasing me all over the place from Boston to the Cape. And, they got me twice. They caught me twice, but,
When you're in there, are you like learning about prison and what to expect when you get to big prison and all that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what everybody looks up to. That's what all these kids look up to. The gangsters, the rappers, even the staff members go in there and they act like they're gangster. They act like they're tough, especially they're working around these kids. It's like they're trying to prove themselves to us, like they're tough. And so you look at them and you think like, oh, they're trying to be like that. Like, this is what it is. You know what I mean? You got to be tough to survive. You got to be a gangster to survive. You got to fight. You can't take no shorts. You can't let anybody disrespect you. And as soon as you do, and it's true, it will follow you. People will see a mark in you. You know what I mean? They smell blood in the water and they see an easy way to boost their own reputation. Kids are vicious, man. Kids are vicious. And I was one of like 3 white kids in almost every place I went for a while. You know what I mean? So it was like, I'm dealing with the cracker. You know what I mean?
Me too, man. Me too. Everywhere I went, I'm like the only white kid on the tier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first thing they said to me, we're gonna kill the white boy in 6 cell. I'm like, that's me. What the f- that's me.
The white boy, you're looking around, there's no other white people there. You're like,
oh man. Do you turn 18 and then you're out free, or how does it work?
Man, I hit 16 and a half. I had been, this is where I learned how to manipulate the mental health system, is when I was a child. I seen people getting sent to hospitals and coming back and talking about, oh, there's girls there, they got drugs there, the staff members cool, you could go outside, you have your visits can bring you whatever. And I'm thinking, it planted a seed in my head, and I'm thinking like, if I ever need to, that's the way. But I got out. I was 16 and a half. I got out for less than a week, and because of something to do with my brother, him and me being out together at the same time, they didn't want us together or something like that. So we ran or something, and something happened. I forget exactly because I was young, you know what I mean? But we ended up getting locked back up for that a little bit of time, right? And when I went back in, I went to Goss. I went to Goss 1, and it's a secure detention facility for juveniles. And I was like, fuck it, dude. I was tripping on acid, not for nothing, because I had taken acid. I didn't even know I was going to get locked up. I just had, around where I was from, a lot was like acid, ecstasy, special K, a lot of hallucinogenics and weed. It wasn't a lot of crack. Like, until I got older. It was, as I got older, that's when the hard drugs was hitting the scene really, you know what I mean? Crazy. But as a kid, I would do a lot of hallucinogenics. But when I got locked up, I had already had these, like, I don't know, couple of probably mental health things going on because, I was all fucked up. I was a kid, constantly locked up, doing all these crazy drugs. And I went in there and I just said, fuck it, dude. I refused to put my clothes on. I refused to answer them. I refused to talk to them. I'd spit at them. Every time I came out of my room, I'd stick my arms out and my feet out and make them force me back into my cell. And they were like, they had a doctor come see me. The doctor's asking me questions. I'm like, I was making chicken noises, I think, or something, and spitting at him or something. They sent me to this place called Westwood Lodge. And I went there and, not for nothing, but I hooked up with a chick. I got some dip from my visit, you know what I mean? And it was better. And they committed me down there. They said, you know what, we think you could use this. I was having like flashbacks. This is what I'm telling them. You know what I mean? I never really truly had hallucinations, and that's me keeping it totally honest right now, right here. Like, I never had these hallucinations, but I was traumatized enough as a kid to know, like, this is better for me. You know what I mean? So I'll say whatever I got to stay here.
How long do you stay there for?
Probably like 3 months, and then they shipped me to this place in Brockton. It was called it was the old veterans hospital. There was a little drug program up there, and they let me complete this drug program. And when I was done, they were sending me home, but I wasn't supposed to leave. They were supposed to, I was supposed to go to the hospital, get cured of whatever mental things going on, and go back to finish my thing. But because they were, I don't know what happened. There was a miscommunication somewhere. They just said, I was good. And they called my family to come get me. I was ready to go. I left and I ran. As soon as I got out there, I said, nah.
They're going to grab you up and bring you back, right?
Yeah. I figured they would, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't supposed to go. So I was thinking, that I'm just going to take off and not give them a chance. You know what I mean?
What happens next?
I didn't go back. I didn't sign out. I didn't sign my papers. This is when I started getting involved in hard drugs. I linked up with a kid. One day I was at one of my friend's house, and my boy had washed a quarter of in his jeans, and it was wet. So when he was pulling his jeans out, I was right in the hallway. And he's like, damn, bro, I just, I washed this thing, and it's got like, there was a little bit of like water looking in there, and it was all moist. And I'm like, I'll give you $100 for it right now. I bought it off him. I went upstairs. I had the kid upstairs cook it in one of those Garcia Vago vials, I think it was back then.
Yeah, the glass ones.
Yeah, the glass Pyrex tubes. But I had him cook it up in that first day, dude. That went in minutes, dude. I had like this kid, I won't say her name, but I had her up there and she was getting ready to like clockwork, dude. And I didn't realize just how much of that was moving at that time, and that my whole town was just on that. And
there's a big drug scene there.
Oh yeah, the Cape is really bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's whatever drug is really prominent in the country or the state at the time is super heavy there. You know what I mean? When it was big, it was really big down there. When it was big, it was really big down there. When Fetty was big, it was really big down there. And because the prices you can sell things for a little bit more expensive down there, people flood it and try to, everybody's going to the Cape to try to make money.